covering politics in North Carolina and beyond. This is VoterRadio.com. The following is a presentation of the North Carolina Center for Voter Education. Taking the political pulse of North Carolinians, plus is it time to make it easier for smaller parties to get on the ballot? Find out right now on the Voter Update. When North Carolina voters went to the polls last November, the ballot before them had 3 parties on it, one more than had been the case 2 years earlier. That's because the state's Libertarians were able to meet the signature requirement to have their party officially recognized in the Tar Heel State in time for the 2008 election. But last year's Libertarian gubernatorial candidate Michael Munger said that Libertarians arrived to the starting line of the campaign season already exhausted from having run a marathon jumping through the hoops of the state's ballot access laws. So is it time to make it easier for so-called third parties and unaffiliated candidates to get their names on North Carolina's ballot? Or would lowering the bar to be on the ballot simply lead to fringe candidates on the campaign trail and confusion at the polls? To get insight into the issue, we're joined by Jordon Greene, President and founder of North Carolinians for Free and Proper Elections. Jordon Greene, welcome to the Voter Update.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. Now, Jordon, tell us about your organization, North Carolinians for Free and Proper Elections.
Yes, sir. The North Carolinians for Free and Proper Elections is a political action committee that we started up last year in June to specifically to battle the ballot access laws in North Carolina, along with some other election-related issues that we're not quite ready to do at the moment, but mainly the ballot access issues that keep third parties, unaffiliated candidates off of the election ballot and prevent the voters in North Carolina who may wish to affiliate with those or vote for them on Election Day from having that right to vote. And even those who, at the time, don't view or want to go for a third-party candidate at this moment, for they'll have that ability in the future to do so. And we didn't see nothing like that actually going on at the time. And people didn't know much about the laws, so we formed the PAC to educate and then to bring together other parties to work together to push for this type of legislation and education around the state.
Well, let's talk about those ballot access requirements here in North Carolina. So if I am an independent candidate, or if I'm a candidate for a third party, that is a party outside of the Republican Democratic establishment, how can I get on the ballot?
All right. There's different requirements for different, of course, candidates and the parties. If you're a new political party, such as the Libertarian, Green Party, Constitution Party, you have to go through the signature requirements laid out in Chapter 163 of the North Carolina General Statutes, and the requirement is you have to obtain signatures on petitions equal to 2% of the number of votes cast in the last election for governor. And so if you look at the last election results for 2008, where we had one of the highest voter turnouts in North Carolina history, you're looking at 85,379 signatures. And that's just to get the party on the ballot and where they can actually nominate their candidates, put their candidates on the ballot. And so they have to get those signatures, and then on top of that, their candidates will have to go for it and pay the filing fees and whatnot to put themselves on the ballot as well. So once you get those signatures, that actually grants you ballot access as a third party. If you're an unaffiliated candidate, however, the requirements vary depending on which office you're seeking. If you're a statewide candidate, it's basically the same as a third party, with the difference that you have a much shorter time span to do it in, whereas a third party has approximately 3.5 years. If they're going for an election that's 4 years away, a statewide candidate only has about 23 weeks, in essence, to get on the ballot. No, I'm sorry. It's the statewide candidate has the 3.5 years as well. If you're a district candidate, like for congressional office, state senate, state house, that type of thing, you only have 23 weeks to get on. And so your signatures that you have to get in are piled up, so to say.
And how does North Carolina compare to other states when it comes to our ballot access laws?
Okay, of course it varies. Roundabout, what you'll hear is around the third. They'll put you in the top, basically the top 5 most restrictive states. Some will place it right at the third most restrictive. And again, when it comes to third-party ballot access, it probably is around the third most restrictive. Oklahoma, of course, is way up there. California has some restrictive laws. Texas has some really restrictive laws. Whenever it comes to independent ballot access, again, we have the most restrictive when it comes to a congressional office in the one district, District 9, which required in 2008 over 20,000 signatures, which was more than any other candidate in the entire nation would have to obtain.
Now, there is a piece of legislation currently under consideration in the North Carolina legislature put forward by State Senator Jim Jakuman called the Electoral Freedom Act. What is that all about?
The Electoral Freedom Act is a bill that we wrote back in 2008, right about the same time the PAC got formed in June, where it will deal with the election laws that regard to ballot access for parties, unaffiliated candidates. We've presented many candidates. We primarily focused on Jakuman because he seemed to have the most likelihood of actually putting it in and most interest in it. And the bill itself will reduce the signature requirement for third parties and for unaffiliated candidates. For a new party, what it will do, it'll take away the percentage requirement, which currently is in law, and it will change it to a set number of 10,000 signatures, which is over 75,000 signature drop if you look at the percentage